Bad date stories are always good for a laugh, and it almost feels like it's a rite of passage. But bad doctor appointments, not so much. Whether it's a doctor who rushed your appointment, belittled your symptoms, or hit you with a surprise bill, you shouldn't have to settle for mediocre care. But now, thanks to ZocDoc, you don't have to. You've got options. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors and click instantly to book an appointment. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, and are a good fit for any medical need you have. And appointments made through ZocDoc also happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/female to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/female. ZocDoc.com/female.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Season 17, Episode 3, titled Monopulence. My name is Joe Batanz, and I am joined, as always, by one super derogatory co-host. From Bravo, effing Bravo, please say...
I like to use my butthole.
To Mr. Nathan Patrick Brown. Hello, Nathan.
Hi, how are you, Joe?
I'm
lovely
doing
to see you.
Lovely to see you. I do love. This is how short the TikTok ban in the U.S. was. That in between, just between us girls, which we record right before this episode, we just recorded it. It was canceled, and then now we're recording, and it's back. That is,
Mama, I smell a stunt.
Yeah. It was a shtick talk, what I'm going to call it. Anyway, but if you want to hear that just between us girls, go over to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia and join at the executive tier level and above to get that content. But there's other ways that you can get it. You can go to Apple Podcasts and just scroll right up and hit subscribe. I think it's like $6 a month, and you get Just Between Us Girls the same time everybody else gets Just Between Us Girls. Coming soon. I just haven't set the price yet. You can also just buy Just Between Us Girls, just straight out, just like flat price. I don't know. I don't want to say a price yet, but you can do that if you don't want to. You don't want to subscribe, but you just want to buy Just Between Us Girls. You can do that a bunch of ways. By the way, too. Remember, I think I can do a new offer code this week, and I'll make it for longer. So to get 30% off executive tier, go to look in the show notes. But also, you can always just try a free week of executive or exclusive tier. Check it out. See what's going on. We're doing a lot of stuff over there. You can do that. All of that at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Join us over there. But let's actually talk to my pal Nathan Brown right here. Now, Nathan, I was going to tell you before the show started, I've been so busy that I received the Mr. Blackstone stuff, but I have not had a chance to listen to it. And the reason I think that's important is one, Taylor the Latte Boy messaged me recently and was actually very flattering. He was like, I'm loving the content. I love recap. I love Alaska Thoughts. I love Just Between Us Girls. You're hitting it out of the ballpark every single episode. I'm crying, laughing. You know, it's a whole thing, right? He goes, and then he says, this episode was horrible. This is episode 3, right? He wrote out horrible. And he goes, I can't wait to hear what Mr. Blackstone has to say about the looks. Now, here's the thing. And I don't know if you've picked up on this, Nathan. I don't get the sense that Mr. Blackstone likes any of the looks ever.
There is a certain edge to his tone that indicates that he's not a fan of anybody.
No, himself. And
he's very vicious, but I kind of like that. It harkens back to, like the old gays I imagine of like the 60s or the 50s who are in the closet and bitter about it.
Yes. Do they just get, it's like the boys in the band, but how they were really like just really cunty and mean and bitchy. Yeah. It's 100% what it is. And we just have to get used to it. On where's my phone? Is it still in here? Oh, it might still be in my every day when I come home from work, I throw my Apple Watch, keys, wallet, and phone into a UV light box. And I desanitize it because I work at a place that has a lot of germs. And so, but it's funny, I saved a picture. I was on Instagram, and I literally got a picture of, I think this came up with Robert, but like, I don't know if you know this, but Mr. Blackstone had a very famous lawsuit against this guy, Mr. Blackwell.
I don't know who Mr. Blackwell is.
So let me get my phone here because I actually saved that. I thought it was weird, like whoever talks about Mr. Blackwell anymore. People talk about Mr. Blackstone.
Oh, talk of the town. Yeah,
but no one ever talks about Mr. Blackstone. And then how funny that just on tonight, on my Instagram, there was some sort of 80s gay thing, and they showed a picture of the Advocate, and they had Mr. Blackstone on it.
That's exactly what I picture him to look like.
Mr.
Blackwell.
I'm sorry, this is Mr. Blackwell. No, this is Mr. Blackstone that we're talking. No, this is Mr. Blackwell. But this is what you picture Mr. Blackstone to look like too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it is weird. Anyway, Nathan, how are you? How's everything going in your world?
So good, thanks, Joe. So good. Just thriving.
Oh, really?
Nah.
So, we're going to take a break right now. And, guys, on Just Between Us Girls, I want you to know that I apologized to Nathan for my cunty comment last week. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk about, we're going to get right into the episode. I think Nathan's mad.
No?
Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
And we are back. This week, the girls play a mini game of messed up Monopoly, and on the runway, the category is Monopulence. That's a portmanteau of Monopoly and opulence. In the end, Sam Starr was named the winner of the challenge, while Lucky Stars and Joella were placed in the bottom two. After a lip-sync battle for their lives, Joella was told, "Shantae, you stay," while Lucky Stars was asked to sashay away. Nathan Patrick Brown, were the right two queens in the bottom, and did the right person win the lip-sync?
Yeah, I do think the bottom two was correct. And as far as the lip sync goes, I think they were evenly matched, but I feel like Joella did a few moves that I haven't seen before, whereas Lucky Stars sort of just did all the same moves that I've seen before. But I really wish Lucky would have won. I think she had a bit more of a unique outlook, or her drag was a bit more unique than Joella's. But at the end of the day, Joella's here for another couple of days or two, like, a week or two, and we'll just see what happens.
I have an opinion on the entire episode, but this is not what the question is. And I have to obey my own rules.
Hell yeah.
This lip sync was a mess in the best possible way.
Oh, in a good way.
In a good way. It was just a mess. Unfortunately, it has to do with my bigger picture thought on this episode. But this lip sync in particular was a mess. Joella, who, by the way, and I will say this now, in the first act, okay, in the first fucking act, came for Hormona Lisa and basically made fun of Hormona Lisa for her lip sync, and said that if she were to ever lip sync, she would not do it like Hormona Lisa. And I would say Joella's lip sync was pretty much almost as bad. One thing I will say is, so there's a part, I actually watched Untucked this week because I had seen on Reddit that Untucked had some fireworks. Okay. So I watched Untucked. And this Joella is out of fucking control. And luckily there were people on Reddit and again, this is a better conversation with Robert. So I'm going to tell you something. Rulaska Thoughts is going to be very good this week. I'm going to keep it close to my vest. Why? Play it close to my vest. Why? But Rulaska Thoughts is going to be very good this week. I already have a lot of topics that I want to discuss in depth. But there's also a few little surprises as well. So everybody gets Rulaska Thoughts. Everybody gets the whole fucking thing. So wait for Rulaska Thoughts. But this is a topic that I will discuss now, but Robert will have more to say. Well, what I found out was on Reddit is Joella's calling herself an LA girl, but she's really a Palm Springs drag queen.
Oh.
And here's the thing. Yes, the further you get from Los Angeles and California, Palm Springs just becomes enveloped into the greater Los Angeles area. But if you live here, it really isn't, okay? It's about from the heart of Los Angeles with no traffic, a 2-hour drive with no traffic, okay?
And there's gonna be traffic.
And there's gonna be traffic. And so you're looking at a 2-hour drive just from Los Angeles, okay? And it's just a different culture. It's a different vibe. It's a lot of old gays, where gays go to retire. Especially LA gays. Now, there are a lot of drag queens that work out there and live out there. There's a variety of reasons why. We're not going to get into now. But it does mean something that Joella is calling herself an LA girl, and she's really a Palm Springs girl. And that explains so much.
Well,
so
you
much.
can never trust a Katy Perry fan. And I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
She's like the chair of the Katy Perry fan club. Like, we can't trust her to tell the truth.
In fact, her name in her role is Katy Cherry. And it's really sad. So I just thought the lip sync was, look, we are very appropriately getting rid of the correct people along the way. Lucky Stars wouldn't have been long for this world, especially based on that lip sync. And in other words, she does these avant-garde looks and they're kind of cool, but how long? You're not going to be able to do avant-garde looks the whole time. This isn't Dragula.
Exactly. And as much as I would have preferred to have seen Lucky Stars for another week, at least Joella's going to be messy.
We haven't gotten into my total opinion, but I will say the right two queens were in the bottom, and I will say the right person went home. Joella's going to give us better TV.
Yes.
Lucky Stars was actually her biggest sin. She wasn't good television. If she was good television, they probably would have booted this Joella, if I'm being honest. Okay. All right. Well, at this point, now people who are on the public feed, as you know, I think I was very proud of myself. Very, very proud of myself last week. Good curation last week. It's gonna come up. I don't know what's gonna happen yet, but I'm gonna curate some of the better moments from the episode and put them up so you get like a sort of feeling of a full episode. But the full episode you can get at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. And coming up pretty soon, especially on an important one like what is this, Snatch Game or whatever, you'll be able to buy the individual episode.
Oh.
Yeah, you can buy. Does anybody really want to buy this individual episode? But with important ones where important things happen, you will be able to buy that individual episode. That way you're like, oh, I don't need to subscribe, but I can buy this one episode. All right, so at this point, we're going to say goodbye, and we will see you in a little bit. All right, let's jump into it. After the last episode, the girls complain about the fact that no one was eliminated. Later, Lana Jarre calls out Joella for her criticism during Untucked. Meanwhile, Joella gets mad at Hormona's criticism during the episode. The next day, the girls enter the workroom ready for the next challenge before RuPaul enters the workroom to introduce this week's mini challenge. The queens pull Monopoly cards and make or lose money depending on the card. The card they draw also determines the color team they will be on for this week's maxi challenge, which is the queens must design and create an outfit from scratch using only the materials they gather from the table of textiles that correspond with their Monopoly color. Nathan Patrick Brown, let's start with that opening teaser, and you can give whatever opinion you want here, but do you have any big thoughts on this after the almost elimination that happened?
I just agree with Corey King. I want to see it dwindle. Let's see people leave. Other than that, this wasn't that interesting. Unless I'm misremembering, did anything stand out for you in this moment?
Yeah, I've honestly stay here. But before I get into it, I want to say my comment on the whole episode. Okay? I love this fucking episode.
Wow.
I loved it, and I'll tell you why. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. I was actually kind of surprised. I was like, oh, I have this great talking point for the recap, and then I saw the same sentiment echoed on Reddit. This episode, in structure and content, was giving us old school RuPaul's Drag Race. Because here's the sort of weird, insulting thing about it has to do with the cast and also the production of the episode. But if you take the elements of this episode, then what you realize is, oh, this is an old school episode. You had an after the lip sync that had some drama. You had what I think is a fun mini challenge. You had what do they call those challenges where they create shit? But a design challenge.
Design, yeah.
They had a runway where the designs, even from the ones who say they were good, were okay at best, right? So in other words, everything that Taylor... Now, here's where Reddit got it wrong. On Reddit, the people were saying, oh, yeah, this is giving season 5, season 6 vibes. I'm like, no,
absolutely
no. This is giving season 2, maybe some season 3, season 4 vibes, right? Early, they know the show, but they're still a mess, right? And I'm starting to see, so it's still a blob of characters. That part has not changed. But the very fact that they're so young means they're not that good. And so they think they're good at Drag Race, but they're not. And so it has that same sort of skill level that you would get on a season 2, a season 3-ish. Unfortunately, season 3 had some very strong people on it too. There's no one that's that strong here, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and I know Robert will say, how dare, because I said season 2, which is his favorite season. But I'm talking about the quality of the episode, everything. Everybody wants old school Drag Race. And this, even down to the lip sync of the Paula Abdul song, this was a 2010 episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. Every element was. And for that reason, and I'm going to go on to another point, but for that reason is why I love the episode. It's exactly what I wanted. It was drama, which is what I love. Look, here's the deal. Am I a super big fan of drag? Nah. I'm a super big fan of television. Right?
And can I push back on you a little bit on that
push back on whatever you want.
It is jumping ahead, but I think the most exciting part of this episode happened off camera. And that's what I don't like about this episode. I don't think it was well produced. Like, when those queens leave that workroom, put them on fucking ice. I don't want to be told the next day, oh, Lexi Love went off on Hormona Lisa, and I just have to imagine it. It's like, no, bitch, give me that drama. Feed that to me.
Maybe they just disobeyed, or maybe they found out later. But we'll address this later. There are some developments there. What people may or may not know what you're talking about. Oh no, they know what you're talking about in the episode, but there's more to the story. But which is so funny because to me, the old school Drag Race and dramatic moment was on your nerve, just straight up fucking stealing Jules Sparkle's like trimming.
That bit I did like.
Yeah, guys, there was like, if you think about every segment on this show, there was something that you would have seen on like a season 2 or 3 or 4 episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. It was camp. I live. I sound like Robert, but it's true. Okay, so let's talk about this. Now we're gonna go to the next topic. I don't know what I was thinking. And let me tell you this. I was going to say this on the top of the show. This is something Robert would point out, but Nathan, maybe you can. What is something that I always say every season ad nauseum to the point that it probably annoys you in the audience? You can name other things, but I know one thing.
Well, there's the story about going to the finale.
No. Things about dice. No, I've never talked about that. What I'm going to say is that when I say I call balls and strikes.
Yeah, you do.
I call balls and strikes, and that's why I like this episode. And I call balls and strikes on any given Friday. My opinion can change. This week, I fucking love Hormona Lisa. I love her, and not as a drag queen. Not as a drag queen, but as a reality television show character. She is a fucking mess. She's giving us Serena Cha-Cha. She's giving us I went to art school.
I see that.
She's giving us all that wonderful, and she's drawing the cast together against her. I love the messiness. I love, and this is where this comes into this moment. Remember I said that this is a kind of person that I'd want to bully. That has not changed. But there is a kid that I hated so much in high school. And he was a big fucking nerd. And everyone knew he was so famous that even kids at other schools knew about what a nerd he was. Okay. Oh. But this is what Hormona Lisa reminds me of. You would think, you're thinking right now, Nathan, oh, this poor kid, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. No, this is where Hormona Lisa comes in. It wasn't just that he was a nerd, but he had the unmitigated gall as if he were the coolest guy in school. Okay?
Oh, I see.
And that made the people, okay. Here's a story. This is one story, but this will be indicative, and this is something Hormona Lisa would do. He called like every girl in the school to go to prom with him. And they all turned him down.
Yeah.
And finally, this one girl feels sorry for him and says she will go with him. And he was happy, and he goes, oh, I'm so glad because you were at the bottom of my list. So I had no one else. Meant it.
That's rough. And then did you drop a bucket of blood on him?
I did. Mm-hmm. And boy, did I laugh. We all just laughed at him. And he didn't have any telekinetic power, so we all just laughed at him.
Phew.
Yeah. But the point is, this is Hormona Lisa. This is her because she was eliminated, and the only reason she was there was because the producers rigged. I've thought about this so much.
She knows that they saved her, which has gone to her head even more.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
She knows it's not chance.
She knows it's not chance. She knows it was rigged, but she doesn't realize they were just doing it for good television, because if you're going to do a challenge like this, you have to have the first one pay off, right? So they did it, but she thinks that she was saved because RuPaul has anointed her, that she's the chosen one. So RuPaul saved her.
And I bet she also thinks if Ru was judging that week, she wouldn't be in the bottom. She was only in the bottom because her peers judged her.
And that's why RuPaul saved her, was because...
But guess what? She would have been in the bottom.
She would have been in the bottom. And
if I have to hear about that fucking book tour again, that's what pisses me off with this Hormona. Like, shut up about it. We get it. But now I see what you're saying. You're reframing it as like a fun camp positive. Maybe I'll lean into it.
The nonsense she's bringing, and she's making everyone so angry. And what's funny is you can see it, and like I've said before, none of them wants to be Roxy Andrews or anybody in Relaska Talks. They don't want to be, they don't want to be the bully against a Jinx Monsoon. So they are doing everything in their power to hide their fucking, as much as possible, hatred of Hormona Lisa as much as possible. But it's you can see it's seeping out. It's coming out because they don't want to, but eventually it's going to break. Because the way she comes for Joella in this episode, which we're going to work our way backwards here, as if she were the winner. She acts in this opening act like a winner. Mm-hmm. Like, because she pulled the lever and Michelle fell, she forgets that she was in the bottom two. She forgets that she lost the lip sync. She thinks she won. So do you notice that she conducts the meeting like the winner? And she's like, oh, congrats, Jewel Sparkles, on your win. Is that who won? No, Lexi Love. Congrats, Lex. Let's give congrats to the winner. And then what do you think? She's hosting the show like she's me.
Lexi can't get a word in.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this bitch. And then, okay, so now we're going to work backwards, because this is where I start to love Hormona Lisa. Okay.
You're making the case for me, Joe.
All right, well, we're back. Back on the main stage, Sam Star was named the winner of the challenge, while Lucky Stars and Joella were placed in the bottom two, forcing them to face off in a lip-sync battle for their lives. The song, The Way That You Love Me by Paula Abdul. In the end, Joella lived to see another day, while Lucky Stars was asked to sashay away. Nathan Patrick Brown, and by the way, Lucky did attempt the badonkadunk, but failed, right? Nathan Patrick Brown, any final thoughts on the episode?
I love the sound effect for the no dunk. Like, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a I just think that was fun. I look forward to hearing that every week. But at least she got a trip to Vegas. So I guess all the girls are getting trips to Vegas.
Yes, that sounds good.
That's something.
Yeah. So eventually, Acacia Forgot was complaining that she didn't get a trip to Vegas, but she'll get her trip to Vegas.
Sooner rather than later.
But when Hormona Lisa goes home, is she going to get 2 trips to Vegas?
That would be pretty funny.
Any other final thoughts? Let me look at my notes here.
Nope.
Let me look at my notes. Is there any? No, I can't. All my thoughts. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us next weekend, every week, as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17. So, for Nathan Patrick Brown and myself.
Are you using that trim?
Thank you for listening to Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can also email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. For more Drag Race and LGBTQ+ content, support us over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. This podcast was produced by Luke Stamen. You can follow Nathan Brown over on Instagram at NathanBrown90. Follow Joe Batance on Instagram at Joe Batance. Special thanks to these expensive tier Patreon supporters: April Pacheco, Astute Girl, Brad Coley, Derek Byers, Doofus Maximus, E. Smith, Effie Wop, Emma, Phil Skit Pony, Blind Suki, Humble Pie, J. Thomas Plank, Kathy Zender, Katie Whitmire, Lauren Eckert, Lucy Carrasco, Luke Stamen, Mary S., Mike Yeager, Nikki Baker, Nikki Pettit, Polly, Poppy Woods, Ricardo Herrera, Runner Brandon, Sarah Yu, Tom Bombs, Travi Cosmos, and Troy Anderson. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.